Good morning, my poppy seeds. You see the change
Poppy
there?
seeds.
You see the change?
Okay. What other kind of... We're going to hit like flax seeds next time?
Oh, I don't know. Flax seeds?
Flax seeds?
Flax seeds. Poppy seeds. Sesame seeds. What's another like good like off the tongue?
I don't know.
We'll think about that. Stay tuned for the next episode. But good morning, everybody. We hope that our lovely intro has given you a smile, has blessed your ears, but also your hearts. And we hope that you're all doing well. I feel like I need to, write a Hallmark card right there.
Yeah, how are you doing this morning? Are you doing well? Did you have a good weekend? Was it restful? Did you have a good time? Where did you go? Hey, tell me everything about your life. Go. Bye. Social security number, credit card number, security code, driver's license number, expiry date. Tell me everything.
Send it to us. Psych, just kidding. We're not going to defraud you. Even though
Easy money. Some of us.
I'm joking.
Some of us.
I'm joking.
Some of us want to continue this episode right now before they get in trouble.
See, don't come for us. We're just trying to get you to laugh. But good morning, everybody. It's almost towards the end of August. Time has flown by. And you're probably not even thinking about it, or maybe you are.
There's also a lot of Mondays in August.
There is. There's 5.
5?
It's insane.
Wow.
But it's probably kind of cooling down a little bit. Might be still a little stingy out there. But we were thinking, like, man, today might be a good day to grab some ice cream.
Dude, my favorite ice cream has to be peanut butter ripple because I don't need any toppings. Like that, the peanut butter just lives for itself.
You know, this might be completely opposite of you.
No.
Because you're like, peanut butter ripple, it sounds amazing, like fancy. Bro, I'm just like straight vanilla.
That's completely fine, actually.
Because if you think about it, vanilla is the foundation of all other flavors.
Yeah. No, I have no problem with vanilla. Vanilla is actually like top 3, top 5 for me.
And I think I cannot wait to try peanut butter ripple sometime.
You're a simple man. You don't need very much to please you, and that's totally okay.
And you're a man who likes his peanut butter.
A man of culture, some might say.
Ripples.
Yeah. So hard turnaround here. Gavin, we're going to have you brag today, probably. I'm just going to let you know that now.
I don't like
So
that.
you probably have to start thinking about what you can brag about.
No.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's all coming full circle. I asked you that very early on in our lives. And now here it comes coming back, in our podcast. So think about it. Think about it, sir.
Dwell on it.
So I want to know, when should you be humble and when should you brag? Is there a time for either? Is there a time for both?
I would definitely say yes. I think there's yes to all the above. I mean, that almost hits on our past couple of conversations. Say yes. But there's always times to brag. There's always times to be humble. But it's being able to learn to do both and do them effectively, efficiently, without overstepping in some regards. That's where the success comes from. Because if you're just straight bragging all the time, people are going to be like, do I really want to be
turned off from you.
Like, yeah,
there's a few people in my life I know are just full of, I totally did that. And I'm like, I'm not really interested in that.
No, like if I would have seen that and you would have been like, you would have wanted to ask rather than you're expecting them to brag, kind of thing. And it's almost the flip side. You don't want to never brag. Yeah. Because then, unfortunately, and I wouldn't say unfortunately, I say fortunately in this world, you need to brag. Yeah. And you need to be able to put yourself out there. And it's almost the same thing with humility. Like, if you're way too humble, who cares about you? I mean, like, who's gonna, like, that's, like, point simple. Like, it might be like, I can't believe you just said that. But, like, it's the truth.
It's part of, like, we can talk about the grind culture. We can talk about hustle culture. If you're not selling yourself in this industry, if you're not, maybe bragging might not be the right word when it comes to selling yourself, or like pitching yourself to other people. But I think, at least for this episode, we're equating the two as very similar, that selling yourself has to do with expanding upon your successes and the strengths that you have. And in that regard, and in this thing that we're saying, and we're assuming that means the same thing, bragging is necessary in this world right now.
It is. I mean, especially with the way that we're seeing, the way that Instagram's going, it almost is, and we're just social media in general. It's almost it's almost the change of culture rather than being humble about what you're doing and still putting content. It's almost like you have to
Lemons.
brag. Shoot, I'm gonna be pelted. It's coming.
Too late.
Add another tally. Oof. You hit me with a lemon. No, I'm joking. Not yet. But it's to the point where you have to. Because if you don't, then you're almost dragged and drowned into the ocean and flood of just things that are out there. And so it's learning to be able to, okay, for my business and my creative endeavors, I want people to know about what I'm doing. So maybe, like you said, maybe brag isn't the word for it. Maybe you're just putting yourself out there and being okay with talking about yourself in a positive light, because, self-love's a thing.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
But then also not taking it to the extreme of like, oh my gosh, I just shot with this guy and he's the most amazing. Like, I can understand the excitement and the love for that, but being able to just put something out there, like, you might even not have to talk about what happened. You could like do some cool like story, and you're still being like, hey, I had this amazing opportunity, but you're being humble through that opportunity.
I think these two things almost coincide a lot with perspective. So when you are humble, you are able to see others when you compare, and you were able to see their work in an accurate view compared to yours.
Yeah.
So you are able to see that, yes, there are people above me. Yes, there are people below me. I am where I am. There are people that are further along in the process, beginners in the process, and I'm able to place myself somewhere on that continuum. When you are bragging, you are taking the perspective of, I am in the higher percentile of this, whatever it is.
Does damage.
It does damage. And you believe that everyone or most everyone is below you. And when that comes around, it's just like, especially if it's not true, like people just don't want to be around you. You're not thinking realistically.
Exactly. And it almost makes others lose respect. Like you lose respect. And if you're bragging about something too much to the point, like you said, where you're being affected, people are being negatively affected by the craft that you're doing. It might be the most amazing thing out there, but if you're doing that, then you're losing that respect.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like literally the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
You could be the coolest person ever, but as soon as you instantly put yourself above everyone else in your mind, you're losing that like servant's mentality. You're thinking people should be under me, helping me, and not, hey, I can help someone else. When you turn yourself into a higher power in your spheres, you are putting people down.
And this might be a hot take.
Say it.
Shoot. Hot tamales coming in fast. But what we're saying was along the lines of, if you're taking yourself above others, you're almost considering yourself a creative god. That you think that you are better and there's no one other better than you, and that everybody is benefited by the things that you do.
Oh, that's a good thing to say. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's all. I was like, that's a really good point, that you think that people benefit more than they actually do from your craft.
Exactly. I mean, I think that almost is to the core of what the bragging is because we think that we have more to offer and we have more to bring, and the realm of creativity, and we narrow our exposure, we narrow our views, we narrow the way that other people want to work with us, because who wants to work with somebody that thinks they're a creative god?
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
Like, nobody, because then you walk into a situation, you immediately feel that you are less respected, less important, and you're just another pawn in their play.
Yeah.
And it just ruins your connections and your creative venues. But on the flip side, if you're too humble, then your people are just going to walk right over you.
Yeah. And it's, people think you possibly have a lack of direction. Like, I don't want to work with a guy that's so quiet. Like, I don't, maybe it is, you know, if I'm thinking it as a very like executive level kind of thought, the quiet guy either has nothing going on in his head or a lot going on in his head.
Exactly.
And I don't, in whether either of those is true, I don't know what the beef of that thought would be. If it's not out there in public, how am I supposed to know what this guy's thinking about?
Exactly.
And in that way, you might lose respect for being humble because you're like, the people might say, yo, this guy has nothing going on in his head.
And then nobody wants to work with you.
No one wants to work with you. By being too humble, you might have less exposure because you're not getting around to meet everyone. And like I said, lack of direction. It's just like, I don't know what's going on in your head. And if you're not going to tell me, there's no way for me to capitalize on and empower you because of those things.
Exactly.
So even in, like, say you get a new job and you're quiet and timid, and that's totally okay, as you hopefully know your place, that you're so new, you shouldn't be speaking out about things. But like, you go into a new job, and if you don't voice your opinions on how they're doing things, they're just going to say, okay, you go do the most boring stuff because you haven't presented any challenges or anything.
Exactly. And it also brings up the point of, like, it becomes a negative thing. Because if you're too humble and then you're realizing, shoot, nobody really cares about what I'm doing, but you're putting yourself in that position. You're putting yourself in the position because it's an amazing quality to have. And we're not trying to say, like, brag, but we're
be
also
humble, as Kendrick Lamar said.
Exactly. The man, the myth, the legend. But with humility, it's learning the boundaries, which we'll talk about in the next episode. But it's, you won't want to be too humble because then you are going to feel that people are walking over you and that you don't have nothing to bring. And then you almost put yourself in that headspace, even though, like, yes, people may not be reaching out, etc., but you put yourself in the position where people don't want to. Yeah. So, like, you're sitting there and you must be, that guy's so nice. He's so kind. He's so humble. But he just seems like a regular Joe Schmo. Yeah. Even the wise words of Secret Life of Walter Mitty, he just looks like a Walter Mitty. What is he thinking? What's in his head? Nobody knows until you take that step to get out there and to brag. Not necessarily brag, but put yourself out there.
There's a humble way to communicate.
Ooh. Humble way to communicate. That's beautiful.
And I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
I don't know. There's times where I'm overly humble about saying things, and there's times where I am pretty upfront and just like, this was pretty awesome what I just pulled off. Yeah. You know, and there are times where you can be right in line, but I can't tell you off the top of my head a single time where I thought I said something perfectly.
And that's just the craziness of the world that we live in and just our own minds. Like, we personally will never know. Yeah. And it's making sure that you have people that will hold you accountable and that are there for you to be like, hey, like what you just did there.
Not cool, bro.
Not cool, man. But hey, like, hype yourself up.
Yeah, and having that person said, you really undervalued yourself here. Like, yo, Gavin, you did not pitch Silo that well to that guy. You know how awesome you are for doing all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. You know, having that person that's like, you stepped over the line or you didn't even step up to the line. Yeah.
And that's a good thing to have. It's not like the individuals being like, hey, you're a crappy person. Like, no, they're like, hey, we love and what you're doing so much that we want you to be reaching that boundaries and those marks. And so, all right, man, that was like that
was one of my favorite episodes.
Oh my gosh, without a doubt. So we hope that this has blessed your ears as much as it has blessed our minds and things that we talk about, because we got really passionate about this one.
We did get kind of passionate about that one. So my challenge to you guys would be find an accountability partner, even if it's someone on social media that you can say, hey, before I like put out a post about my paintings and I'm going to say blah, 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 you please read this caption and say, is this too much? Am I like is this painting actually that good? And that's kind of a subjective thing. But then also, am I valuing this higher than it actually realistically is? Find that accountability partner. Even if it's someone you don't know, even if it has to be us. Like, I'm totally down to be someone that says, nah, or someone that says, dude, what do you mean?
Hey, that's our
you
next
are
step.
like beyond like powerful and amazing.